Hi everyone, thank you for joining me. My name is Joe and I'm the training officer at the Art Society House. I'm going to do a quick video on scheduling a meeting. Now I did do one of these before in June 2020, but it's now January 2021 and a few things have changed. So I thought I'd do an updated video. And Happy New Year, by the way. So scheduling a meeting. First thing that you need to do is go to www.zoom.us, which is where I am here, on a web browser. I'm using Google Chrome. It's worth saying you can do this via the app if you like, but for me personally, and for my use, I tend to find the web browser when you're scheduling things on Zoom a little bit more intuitive. So that's how I do all of my video tutorials. So the first page that I'm taken to when I log in is the profile. I cover that in an overview of the dashboard on Zoom. So I'm just going to go straight to scheduling a meeting. There is a button at the top here that says schedule a meeting. You can click that if you like. But I guess the formal way to do it would be to go over to the menu on the left-hand side and click where it says meetings. That will take you to the meetings page, where first of all what you can see is upcoming. If you don't have anything scheduled, then this is what it will look like. But if you do schedule a meeting, then this is where you will find that scheduled meeting sitting until you start it. So I'm going to go over to the right-hand side and I'm going to click schedule a meeting. So here I am. I'm on the page where I'm able to schedule a meeting. Before I start filling any of this in or changing anything, I'm just going to really slowly just scroll down. Don't worry if you can't read all of this, but I just want you to be able to see that actually there isn't an awful lot that we have to do, and actually most of it's just buttons that we decide to check or uncheck, depending on how we want to tailor the meeting to our specific requirements. So the first thing is a topic. That's a title for your meeting. It's purely so that people who are going to join your meeting, when you send them the invitation, they know what it's about. So you could type into that, I don't know, committee meeting, 24th of June 2020. I mean, you wouldn't because that's in the past, but you could type that, or I suppose what would be more relevant to me would be something like training Zoom. I personally like to put the date just so people know which one it is if you're doing them regularly. You can expand in the description if you like. The next thing is the date. You can see that for me here, it's currently in American date formatting. You can change that if you like. I haven't gotten around to it yet. But if you do want to change that, if you're clicking on the date, nothing happens apart from highlighting different numbers. If you do want to change it, you have to click on this small calendar to the right of it. If you click on that, you have a drop-down calendar. And I suppose let's hypothetically say that this Zoom training is taking place next Tuesday. With the time, again, you get a drop-down when you click on it. It goes from 12 to 11:30. So it's just worth saying to remember to click on the next button, which is AM or PM. The duration is where you can change how long it's going to be. It's unlikely, to be honest, you'll want to have a meeting longer than 2 hours, but the option is there. But it's also worth saying that if you do put 2 hours in there and you're in the meeting and you overrun and it goes on for longer than 2 hours, don't worry, it's not going to kick you out. This is literally, it's just a guideline for your attendees and for you. It's not going to restrict the amount of time that you're actually able to be in there. You can change the time zone if you like. Recurring meeting is something that you can check if it will be a recurring meeting. You can change the recurrence from daily, weekly, monthly to repeat every other day. And it can end by a date or after a certain amount of occurrences. I'll uncheck it for now. Registration is something that you can choose to have. I've never used it personally. I've never felt the reason. If you want to see retrospectively who has attended your meeting, you can do that via the reports function separately. If you do registration, if you do click this, then it does add a few extra steps for your attendees, which I think you just want to make things as simple as possible for them. So I don't tend to check it, but if you do want to click that, then and you feel like it's relevant and suitable to the event that you're scheduling, then by all means explore that option. Next is the meeting ID. I say just generally generate automatically. It's a lot safer than having your personal meeting ID, so just leave that. Security is something which has changed since I did the previous video in June. It used to be that you didn't need to have any of these checked, really. You could just let people in once they click the link. Zoom have updated that, and basically now you have to have either a passcode or a waiting room or both, or require authentication, which is something that people would need to have their own license to do that or their own accounts, so ignore that option. Passcode you can choose to have numbers, or you can choose to have, I don't know, a word. I usually just like to have a waiting room. Passcode, in my mind, again, it's just an extra complication for people that want to join a meeting. A waiting room is basically what it does when they click the invitation link. It places them into a virtual waiting room where a window will pop up and it will say, you're in the waiting room for this event. Please wait here to be admitted by the host. As the host, you'll be in the meeting. You'll have a panel which shows you all the people in the waiting room, and you can admit them individually, or you can admit them all at once if you like. In my mind, the waiting room is the best option. It's just easiest. Video is self-explanatory. You can have them on or off. I think people like to have them on. They like to be able to see each other when they're talking to each other. And people can always turn them off once the meeting is going, if they like. Audio, again, you can choose to limit it to people who are dialing in from their computers. I think 99.9% of people joining will be on their computer, but you don't want to limit it. You don't want people who are trying to get in from their telephones to be blocked, so just have both. And you can change, again, the dial-in information there from the US to the UK, for example. Next is the meeting options. This, again, is stuff that you can decide to check or uncheck depending if you want it. It's really up to you what you choose to have. I don't like to allow participants to join at any time because it means that they might be able to join before me, and then for me to find out that there's a problem with my camera, for example, and I'm trying to fix it while they're all watching me. Mute participants upon entry is something I do have. Often when people join a meeting, they might be in mid-sentence talking to somebody else, or they might be shuffling in their chair. So if you mute participants upon entry, it just reduces a lot of that background noise, and they can unmute themselves at any time they like. The breakout room pre-assign, I go into that in another video, which is dedicated to breakout rooms, so please refer to that. Automatically record the meeting is something that you can check. It's worth saying with this option that if it's a lecture, then please do, for copyright reasons and stuff, refer to our guidelines that we've released regarding that. Alternative hosts is something which used to be useful, not so much anymore. An alternative host is somebody, you can put somebody's email into there, and it would mean that they could start the meeting in your absence. If you, I don't know, you took the bins out and you forgot your keys, you could call them and they could start the meeting in your absence. The only problem is that in I think it was autumn 2020, they made it so that if someone is going to be an alternative host, then that person has to have a licensed account of their own, which isn't really economical for societies to have two licenses. We're paying for two licenses. The easy workaround would be to just have your profile set up with a shared login email and password. Basically, as long as anyone has that email and password combination, then they will be able to access the account at any time and from any device and schedule or host meetings and or webinars. And that is it. I have literally filled in all that in. Sorry if I made it a bit long-winded, but you just click save once you're happy with all of that. And then once you do that, you have kind of a summary page of your meeting, because it's been created now. You can add polls down here. I go into polls in another video. You can convert the meeting into a webinar if you like. This is the link that you could copy and paste and send to somebody if you wanted them to join. You can copy a larger invitation here with the dial-in information if you like. I usually just copy from the meeting ID above, because most people, let's be honest, will be joining from their computers. And I say, if anyone is joining from a mobile phone, then let me know and I can give them this information. And that's it. That's my meeting scheduled. It says start this meeting here, but considering it's not until next week, I'd be a bit early. So just to go back to the start, if I click on this meetings button here now, on the left-hand side, you will see that the meeting I have just scheduled is now here in my upcoming. And I can literally I can edit it if I like. I can click on it to look at the details that we were just looking at, or I can just start it, or I can delete it if I like. That's scheduling meeting. Thank you very much. See you next time.